So, how is it going? We're going to be getting into chapter number 20 today. I think the last one was a little bit of a Christmas celebration, so hopefully everyone had a good holiday, got to spend out on the mistletoe. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So, as all the chapters start out, we get a bit of a review from what happened previously. And Jin Woo was telling Jin Ho that he needed to be on watch because there's something fishy that is going on, moving on from that. And the first thing that we see is just a little bit of information on the caves and the dungeons. So apparently the size of one can vary, and that doesn't depend on the rank. Usually you can get through a dungeon in a couple hours or maybe even a couple minutes, but at the same time there's some instances where it'll take weeks to go through the entire dungeon. Again, it doesn't depend on the difficulty or anything. So yeah, there's a lot of variety in the dungeon, and it looks like the one that they're in is kind of laid out like a maze, so you have to make sure to look around while you're moving about. Back to Jin Woo now, and he's saying that he is the carrier and he doesn't really need to get involved in any of the battles that are currently going on. Remember, the ants were they were defeated before by something that wasn't a part of the attack force, so there was something else. But Jin Woo says that it's pretty nice to earn money without having to actually fight. Like, why didn't he do this before? And as he's having this thought, a notification pops up on his screen that says to beware of lizards. So there must be something going on here, or maybe there's a lizard boss that's gonna come out and he snatch him away. But so yeah, he gets this notification. It says unexpected warning. There's more and more that we figure out about this UI system and how it works. So Jin Woo doesn't really know why this notification appeared, but there is one thing that he is confident about, and that is that his premonitions were never wrong. So they're continuing on down this cave, the dark cave, and we get onto a place. It looks to be a grave, which is what Huang says, the leader of the group. There, he says that it's been a while, so they've obviously been walking for a little bit of time to try and find whoever is defeating these ants. All they're finding is just the defeated ants, basically, and they assume that there has to be something here that's just completely eviscerating all these little boys. Huang tells Gyuwon, which is the magician, to illuminate an area, and when he does, the whole cave lights up, and what they see are some ants that are trapped within these webs. Obviously the first thing that comes to mind is a spider. It's probably left these ants behind so that it can come back later and eat them. At this point, there's been so many ant corpses that it doesn't even need these right now. So the attack force assumes that this is the boss room, and Huang tells everybody to prepare because they're definitely gonna go in there and face whatever is at the end of the tunnel. And when they go down the cave that's surrounded with the webs, they come into a part of it that looks to be completely filled with mana crystals. The attack force, being the money-hungry fiends that they're completely bewildered by this sight. They don't know what to say. They're like, "Wow, this is amazing. How many are there?" And yeah, they're just looking around in amazement, imagining what they can buy with all of this stuff. They say that it should fetch them over 10 million won. I don't know the currency quite yet, but I imagine that 1 million is decent in any currency. Okay, so I did the conversion, and apparently 10 million won to USD is around $7,724, which is significant. But the way that they were talking made it sound like it was going to be life-changing, so I just wanted to point that out to add some context. And they have to split it between 10 people. And so they're just doing some over exaggerating. They're doing a lot of over exaggerating right now. Someone mentions that even Huang's older brother or younger brother would be jealous of this, and Gyu Han, the magician, like yells back like no, hey, watch it, watch what you're saying, and like not to talk about his brother in this situation so lightly. Huang's looking up the mana crystals, and he is thinking, Huang Dong So, look at this, you're not always correct, ignoring me just because you obtained a high rank. Thinking about his little brother. So his little brother must have gotten stronger than him at some point. And he continues thinking that he even ditched him for America just because of the money, and that he's still being treated as a VIP in America and ignoring him even still. And that Huang's not going to be a brother that grovels at his knees and kisses his feet. That he's going to take advantage of the situation, take all the mana crystals, make that money, and invest it into his squad to make his squad members stronger. Like working as a unit, like with some teamwork. And so Huang is, he's very excited about this, we'll say. He's very excited. And they're going to be dividing this amongst each other, which should be around like 1,000,001 each. And jumping to Jin Woo and Jin Ho. Jin Ho asks Jin Woo to look at his contract for a second, just so he can check it out thoroughly, make sure that there's nothing weird in the fine print. And then he automatically jumps to the attack force and says, "Sirs, I have something to ask you really quickly." Like he's putting his finger up just like that. And he says, "This is Jin Woo's contract." And apparently in the contract it says that they only have to divide the magic crystals for monsters. They don't have to divide it for anything else. And then he wants to, so he double checks. He says, like, what is this? Is this like something sneaky? Is Jin Woo gonna get some of this pie? And he says, like, this is gonna be divided among 10 of us, right? Not 9. And we get this shadowy panel of Huang, and then he looks at Jinho and he's like, of course, yeah, like we wanna do this right. We're good people. We're definitely not the lizards. He says, I've read over the contracts. I know exactly what we do and what we write. He says that, oh, there's something that we have to do before we get these crystals, And then we get a panel of this gigantic spider that's just chilling right there. Like, so this is obviously the boss, and we see this awesome panel of the boss just sitting in the spider web. And so now the attack force is completely panicked. They say this is the dungeon boss, like this has to be. But there is a rule that they have to comply to, which is that if they want the dungeon to close, they have to defeat the boss. But that will happen once they do defeat it. So if they want to get the crystals, they would have to take them first and then kill the spider. This is what Huang says. But looking at the spider, it's kind of passive. You'd think it would have attacked at this point, but it hasn't. So it's assumed that it's sleeping because it ate all the ants and now it's has a full tummy. It's ready to rest or go into hibernation, I guess, is what he's assuming. And right now would be the best time to take these magic crystals. Huang says, Chul Bin, have you brought the equipment? That's one of the attack force teammates. He says, sorry, who would expect there would be mana crystals in a C-rank dungeon? He says that he's left all of his gear in the car. Huang's like, man, you should have brought it with you. You should always bring it with you. Jin Woo just has like nothing to say. He's like, oh. And Huang is like, oh man, well this sucks. We got to do something. And the other guy's like, oh sorry. Like looking at him like, kind of just like suspicious. And they say, yo, Jin Woo and Jin Ho, can you guys watch this place while we go and get our gear? I think that's a good idea. So they're about to just peel out of there. Jin Ho's starting to get a little bit freaked out. He's like, you saying that we're gonna have to chill here by ourselves with no help or anything? Huang's basically like, it's good, like it's fine, you know, we've been through this before, you don't really need to worry about it. He's telling Jin-Ho that it's a nice spider, it's a passive spider, like if you want it to attack, then you gotta go in its territory first, like it's fine, you know, you don't have to worry about that thing. As long as they just stay quiet and stay where they are, then it should totally be fine, you know. He was smiling after all. You should just trust him. And so now they're kind of taking some jabs at Jin-Ho, like, oh, this is your first C rank dungeon, you know, and this is also Jin Woo's first time, like, you should trust us. And he's like, you should trust me, just trust me, bro. So Jin-Ho is starting to sweat. Jin Woo's like these guys, and yeah, he's just like kind of rubbing it in, not being a good person whatsoever. Seems like, I hate to say that, but it's like, it's so obvious. It's kind of funny. And now they're literally just saying that they're gonna go out and have a smoke. Like you know, this is too much for us. You guys can hold it down for a little bit, and that's it. They give him like another smile of reassurance to say like, oh, you're good, and then that they'll be back. Jin Woo just seems to be like tired of these guys at this point, you know. And we're getting some, I guess, memories or whatever by so it says, by regulation, C rank gates must be entered with at least 10 people. Accepting Jin-Ho and I into the squad, there were 8 of them. And then we get a flashback panel of Huang saying, you know how hard it is to bring a healer into the attack force with you. Like, it's a lot of work. This is how we've always done it. It's how we always do it. So that means that since they've always done it this way, then what happens to the other people who go with them? You know, the exceptions that they bring. So Gyuwon is looking at Huang and he says, do it. Block the boss room entrance. And we get this evil look over Huang and Huan's eyes, like they're about to do something. And then there's a giant blast, and Jin-Ho from the cave is panicking. He hears obviously something loud, like whatever the magic that they just used must have made a lot of noise. And now there is a wall where the entrance was, and it's completely blocked. And Jin Woo is stuck in the boss room with Jin-Ho. And obviously Jin-Ho is even sweatier now, way sweatier. He says, huh? And yeah, the entrance is now blocked off. Jin Woo says, those guys are the lizards. And that's the end of the chapter. Wow. So, geez, yeah, those guys are just like complete jerks. Like that, this is like on another level, you know, of just messed up. Like that is it. If that's how they do it with every extra 2 people who go with them, if that's what they do, then that's insane. They don't even really see them as people, basically. So now I guess that sheds a lot of light on kind of like the dialogue that we were seeing earlier, where Huang was telling Jin Woo to not worry about the small things, because obviously if he were paying attention to all the small little details, he would have noticed the things that Huang was doing that made it seem like he wasn't trying to protect them or didn't have their best interests at heart. I guess those are now enemies to the wrong person, because I think Jin Woo is like insanely strong at this point. So that's kind of interesting to see. A bit of a darker turn would have been, I imagine that if they went through this cave and made the money, then they could have been doing okay for themselves without like the extra 700 or whatever that they're getting. Like, is the 700 that they're getting from splitting the mana crystals amongst each other, is it really worth their lives. Obviously, you know, Jin Woo, he is very strong at this point, so I think he's going to be able to get through this boss no problem. I'm interested to know what's going to happen afterwards. You know, the attack force will come back eventually and get the attack crystals, and when they do, Jin Woo's going to be there, and I imagine that he's going to be really mad. So stick around to see what's going to happen, or read it, but I recommend sticking around. Also, hitting the like button too.